Thank you for joining us for our June digital marketing workshop. These are monthly. If this is your first time joining, we'll record it and post it, and you can also ask questions at the end. Need to make Brandon a co-host. Yes. Okay. We have been doing frequent meetings. We were cutting back a little bit as we were trying to host live meetings. However, we have stepped back away from those live meetings due to the rise in numbers in our area. We're trying to take every precaution as possible. So you will see more virtual events coming up. We have our real estate connection at 4 p.m. tomorrow. Then we have on Thursday our summer programs community update. So if you are a business that offers any sort of summer programs for children or family, we want to hear about you or hear about those programs. Just let me know if you'd like to participate. It will be 10 a.m. this Thursday through Zoom. And then next week, we're really excited. We have our Eastside Regional Hobnob. That's why we're running a little bit late today. We've been doing a lot of meetings with the candidates. You'll have an opportunity to see those up on our website. esrhobnob.com is that website, and they are also on our YouTube page as well. If you have any questions about upcoming events, please let me know. Other than that, I would like to pass it on to our speaker, Brandon with Falconics. Brandon, are you there?
I'm here.
Thank you for joining us.
Hey guys. Actually, my video is kicked over. No, it's thinking about it. There you go. There's me. I was like, hopefully it's working. Zoom's been biting me all day today, so it's been one of those days. So awesome. Well, yeah, obviously we're a little slower today or a little later, so we'll put a lot more of it together, but I think we have a lot of good information to cover today, guys. So obviously I'll speak on a little bit, and most of you, if you've joined any of our courses before, you've heard me speak. I will also be bringing in my partner Tyler, or sorry, with Andrew. Tyler, you guys heard from last month, which oversees our Facebook ads and so on and so forth. Andrew overseeing our organic social and pretty much how to build and grow Instagram profiles significantly bigger than even I'm capable of doing. So he's kind of like the guy behind the scenes that helps me really make things happen. So like I said, I'll kind of kick things off, get some things rolling here, and then at some point I'll bring Andrew in to assist us and give us some feedback and some suggestions, and then I will open it up for you guys to actually ask your questions from, like I said, someone that has a skill set even better than me in this area, and so I figured you guys would probably love that. So awesome. So I'm gonna go ahead and take over. Do you want to continue? Yes, I'm gonna take over screen sharing. So awesome. Let's close this out now. So I'm gonna head over to the profile. So awesome. So obviously, if you guys have ever played around, we're gonna assume at least you know what Instagram is. Obviously, if you've not, Instagram is a platform allowing you to share photos, video, and live content on their platform. They are owned by Facebook, so they have a lot of similarities. They share a lot of different things in common. So their audiences, meaning the people that that they can target, you can target with, a lot of times are very similar. They both allow you to use hashtags. They both let you, like I said, post video, post photos, those types of things. So there's a lot of things that Instagram can do that I feel is a little more unique than Facebook. For instance, like I said, it really is it's heavily focused on photo and video content. You can see a lot of ours is photo content, but obviously if you hover over certain things, videos will pop up. Our personal goal for our brand, and like I said, it's easier to speak to my own brand at first, kind of get us off the ground here, is we like to share a lot of educational and motivational things. That's just our personal preference. We like to share with everyone and give you guys some inspiration and really push towards a collaboration style. We want you to comment, ask questions, feedback, just like in these classes here that we host. We like to hear the feedback and suggestions. But yeah, like I was saying, the majority of it is photos and videos. You can you can share, you can do things like that. So if you, like I said, if you've played on these platforms before, you've seen the heart signs. You've seen the things that let you come through here and heart them. You can comment on different pieces of content. You can go and see what else that brand has posted. And you can see really their biggest thing is hashtags. Instagram really stands out with hashtag use. What I mean by that, if you've not played with hashtags before, hashtags allow you to actually put pieces of content that you created in categories. So like for this organization, they sell software to small businesses and so on and so forth, and they want to target people in leadership, illustration, marketing, branding, social media marketing, entrepreneurs, digital marketing, so on and so forth. So that is who they're targeting. They want their content in front of those types of people. For someone like myself, we'd have some of those similarities. We would have small business, maybe Shop Small Oviedo, Oviedo Winter Springs, Oviedo Chamber. I could name a lot of those things because obviously we share that in common. This is our local community we want to target. That would be very similar for your local or your business and such. If you're more localized, maybe you're a service-based business, you'd be wanting to use hashtags that are more in line with maybe, like I said, localized things like the city names. It could be landscaping, it'd be landscaping quotes. If you're an ice cream shop, it might be ice cream types of things. Really, the whole point of the hashtags is to get into the categories that you want to be classified under and help people find you. With Instagram, they do have a limit of hashtags of about 30. So you can go here and kind of see how many a certain brand will actually post. You can post up to 30. The optimal amount is somewhere between 5 and 8 typically. And like I said, there's lots of variations to that. As you can kind of see, I'm scrolling here through here. You can also tag other individuals or other businesses. You can see here that the Instagram page, Instagram for Businesses, tagged Instagram for Business, or they someone tagged them in a post. Let's see who else. I'm trying to think what else. I'm trying to cram a little bit more into our course as I can, so I can give Andrew a little bit more time. What else did I want to cover? Like I said, they have the hearting. You can actually go and like content and actually show that you're interested in someone's content. You can show engagement. You can also direct message individuals this piece of content or any piece of content. You can actually hit that. You can see I actually hear McCoy here, Federal. We follow their brand. They usually interact with us often. You guys actually might be on the call now. So we might go through and actually like their content so we get some additional exposure. One of the cool things about Instagram is as you like, as you comment, typically you'll start to see more of it coming back as well. So it's one of those things that the more you engage, the more you post, the more you interact, the more of that you'll see on your actual brand, and you'll actually see it start to grow a little bit more. So that's one of the best practices we like to do is make sure that we are regularly liking, sharing, or liking content, commenting on content, especially in our local community, because we want to really show that collaboration in a local area. We want to be known locally. It's great to be known worldwide, like that, but it might be a lot harder to get picked up if we're just broadcasting across the entire world with hashtags like hashtag marketing. That might be a little bit harder than me posting and tagging something or commenting on something that might be hashtag Oviedo, Florida. Just the popularity is a lot more specific when we're a little more specific about it with our hashtags. Next to that, let's see, what else have I not covered before? I'm trying to think, how do I not give you guys all the same stuff over? With Instagram's algorithm, like I said, it likes to pick up on things that you guys, what you like, what you comment on. If you want to show up for certain keywords more often than others, obviously we want to be popping up for marketing types of things. And depending on your industry, you might want to pop up obviously for something slightly different. A lot of times the best practice for that is going out and actually interacting with some of the hashtags that you're utilizing. And what I mean by that is if, for instance, we want to show up under branding, I might hit branding, the hashtag. It takes me to anyone and everyone that's posting on branding. So quite a few people here posting on branding. And I might actually want to click into their content and like it and potentially even comment on it. So love this photo. And really what I'm doing here is I'm showing interest in other people's work that's in the same niche that I want to pop up in. Yes, some people might say, hey, you're commenting on potentially competitors and so on and so forth. Yes, that is true. but it also it gives me validation in the industry that I understand these specific keywords, I understand these specific hashtags, and I want to be known for these types of things. So doing that, even with it being potentially competitors out there, actually benefits you and your brand when doing so. So I definitely encourage, even though it might seem a little scary to actually go and, like I said, comment and like other people that potentially could be competitor, it is a good practice. With that being said, let's go back to the homepage here. Let's take a quick peek at how to optimize the profile. I think that's another good one. And like I said, Andrew will touch on this slightly more than I will because he's going to know some of the details a little bit deeper. But one of the things I like to do is obviously making sure the brand is consistent with the other profiles you have. So if you have a Facebook, you want to make sure this username here is consistent across your Instagram, your Facebook, your Twitter, your Pinterest, your LinkedIn, because you want that brand consistency. If you are using a logo in Facebook, you should be using a logo in your Instagram. You should be using a logo on your Twitter, so on and so forth. If you're using your face, let's say, for instance, you sell some sort of affiliate service or a third-party solution, and you can preferably, in that case, let's say maybe use your face instead. So I know at times Michelle might be on here, but a lot of times Michelle works with Mary Kay, and I always like to use her an example. She is in a perfect time to actually utilize her face or her image versus using Mary Kay's, because she is your local representative. That is the point of that type of thing. So in that instance, a logo would not be the best bet. A face, a person would be the best bet because you are representing that organization. With that being said, making sure, like I said, the branding is on point there, making sure the description is rather detailed on what you provide and what you offer. So obviously ours is pretty straightforward, and I suggest yours should be very similar. Marketing and business strategies, social media and social ads, company branding and graphic design, no project big or small. If you guys have ever heard me or anyone on my team speak before, we don't care if you're a startup. We don't care if you're a gigantic company. We work with Fortune 500s. We work with little bitty startup companies. We understand. We have been there. We have done that. That is kind of our goal, is to always work with everyone and show the same level of support to no matter what size you are. That is our mission. So we like to actually close up with that in somewhere in our descriptions. We've defined what we do and how we help, and then we let them know that, hey, we are here for a little bit of anyone and everyone. Next to that, you have the option to put a social media link right here, a web address that we want to allow them to send to. We've utilized this here. I'll show you. It will load up, and it will let you actually go to all of our different social media profiles. It will let you call us right from it. It'll let you send us a Facebook message right from it. There's many tools that let you do this. We like the specific one here, but you can also use things like Linktree. Has been a very popular one to use, and it's a lot of times free. And I think that's a great little solution. Let me make sure no questions yet. No, nothing yet. So I think that's definitely beneficial. So if you don't have a website by chance, maybe you're a small organization, I think something like that where you're making a Linktree account or some tool like that. I spelled it correctly. Here we go. This is a very popular one. You can come in here, like I said, you can get signed up for free, and it'll actually make a little landing page for you that you can go sign up, and you can make it have social media links to all your different social medias. You can allow them to send you emails, give you a phone call, all those types of things. So it's pretty much like a free, what we call landing page. It's a free landing page for your social media. So I definitely encourage that there. Yeah, I think that's a good stopping point so far. Do we have any questions so far? I know I get on a ramble and then I forget to ask. Let me see if I got any questions here. Awesome, that was when we first started. You guys have any questions so far? You can unmute yourself and ask. You can send it through chat here. Myself and Andrew are both looking to see, so he'll flag me if there's something I'm missing. If not, Andrew, if you like, you want to jump in and kind of give some input on what I've covered so far. If you have any suggestions on either profile optimization or overall use of Instagram, anything so far that you want to go ahead and add in?
Yeah, definitely. So what I'll cover, I'll talk a little bit more about what you were just talking about profile optimization and things like that. So one of the first things that I do, one of the first things that I do whenever I'm like jumping in to actually work on a new brand or anything like that, obviously I'll go through and I will see what they're actually doing now. And then the next thing that I'll do is I'll identify like the 3 to 4 main competitors. and go through and see what is getting the most interaction. So whether that may be like videos, or it would be asking questions, or maybe stating like a fun fact that's niche related to whatever it may be. If it'd be like real estate fun facts, or it would be like lawyer facts, something like that, that would actually get the audience more interacting with your profile, and therefore will obviously get you more engagement. Like Brandon said with the hashtags, they'll also allow you to really reach more people by leveraging those things. So yeah, those are about that. But yeah, other than that, one of the big things that I focus on, like I said, back to with that, is finding things to see. Like in the viral tab, I don't know if you want to open it up, but on the Explore page, you can really see what content is trending and what people are doing in whatever hashtags, like Brandon was showing, that is actually working in that niche. If that makes sense.
Andrew, I'll let you share screen too if you want to. And then I did have one question that came in.
Yeah.
One question came in was, what is the significance of Instagram stories? Do you want to touch on the stories a little bit and how impactful they are?
Yeah, I think they're actually a great way to get people's eyes on your brand more than just using the feed, because it is something that people will click through separate than on like just scrolling through the actual feed and seeing that content. It's a different way to consume the content. And with that, you can actually do polls and things like that that will have your customers engaging in a different way, if that makes sense.
Definitely. And we got one more. What ratio of followers to following should you have? So I know mine's a more old school Instagram approach. I know you have a little more modern one, so I'll let you lead on that.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it is a good thing to obviously have a higher follower ratio than following, just because it looks better to other people, because it's more of a, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a verification. You know what I mean? Brands are more likely to purchase from people who have a lot more followers than if they have a huge following, because if they have a huge following that's compared to their followers, they're most likely doing a lot of interactions, like you said, like following and following back, or following and unfollowing, if that makes sense, to get their followers. So yeah, if that answers that question.
Yeah, so definitely, guys. So the goal is to have obviously more followers than following. That just shows that you're a recognized brand, that you have brand influence, you're established, so on and so forth. If you guys saw when I had it live here first, our personal brand, I think we follow like 70-something people. Yeah, we follow 75 brands.
Yeah.
And then we have a following of almost 2,400 people that follow our brand. So the goal is obviously to have more followers than you follow. With that being said, it doesn't hurt you to follow other brands. We just try to keep it a little more clean and connect with brands that we feel aligned with what we want to do. We don't really follow a lot of personals. We follow businesses typically. And typically businesses that either work with us or know of us or we want to interact with. So if you're in the group and you have a business page and we've met or we've spoken, if you follow us, there's a high chance Andrew and the team will follow you back. There's a high chance that we will engage with you on a monthly basis, because we want to encourage your little business. We want to encourage that you guys grow bigger. We want to encourage ours to grow bigger. It just helps everyone. So just something good there. Melissa mentioned how many hashtags are pretty much a good amount of hashtags. I think hashtags are capped at 30, so you cannot exceed 30 hashtags. I like to personally stick into about 5 to 8 hashtags is what I like. I know at times we will go a little heavier if we want a little more exposure. Andrew, do you have a preference on hashtags? Is there like a right number?
You know, I've really tried to keep it different. Like some days I'll do 10 and sometimes I'll do 15, 20. It just really, I mean, I shouldn't say it depends on per post, but the algorithm I think does like seeing a variation of different sets of hashtags, if that makes sense. Because when you're using a set of hashtags multiple times, let's say you post 7 times in a week and you use that same hashtag list for every single post, those hashtags most likely will not be effective as much, if that makes sense.
Yep, makes sense. And let's see what the other one. Yeah, definitely. And we got another question. I had a phone call just now, so I'm not sure if you mentioned this, but how often should we post? What's the difference with the numbers on the post itself, the numbers of post itself versus the comments section? Last sentence I'm a little confused on. I'll reread it here in a second, but I'll let Andrew kick it off. What's the frequency of posting, Andrew? I know I like to tell people at least once every 72 hours bare minimum. Daily
Yes.
is preferred. Obviously, multiple times a day is definitely recommended. My thought
Exactly.
is that it depends on your competitors. What everyone else is doing is where you need to be. I know for a lot of the brands, they're a little more high maintenance. You're out there, we're just creating content a lot. We're doing a couple times a day, like your personal brand you do. Whereas Falconics, we might post every other day, just because, in all honesty, marketing doesn't change that much in a 48-hour period.
Exactly.
So we don't like to overwhelm people.
Yeah,
but yeah,
exactly. Yeah, all I was going to say is the only thing, honestly, from my experience is that it kind of also aligns with what your goals are for your engagement or whatnot. So if you want to have, obviously, a lot more engagement, if you're posting 2 or 3 times a day versus posting once, your engagement rate is obviously going to be a lot higher and you're going to be able to reach a lot more people. So that would be the only thing that I'd say about that. But as Brendan said, that's pretty much what makes sense, is just making sure that you're posting on a consistent basis. And the algorithm also does like when you're like, let's say you're posting every day at like 3 p.m. and 12 p.m. or 3 and 6, if that makes sense. The algorithm will actually like that more, from what I found.
Definitely.
Whatever, based on your highest engagement times, if that makes sense.
Yep. So pretty much, guys, the more we feed it, the more it gives us back in analytics and data. So that's really what we're looking for. So it's kind of hard to say that, hey, this is the number to do. Anytime we come in and we look at a brand, the first thing we do is what we call as an audit, a technical audit. We're looking to see what are the post times that we're doing, how many hashtags are we using, what's the type of content. It might just be photo versus video, and then the next thing we might dig down to is, hey, how much text is on that photo? Is the photo a lifestyle photo where a person's in it, or is it a graphically generated piece of content? We're getting very specific, very calculated with it to kind of see what is performing best. And then when we start to figure out what's performing better than another, we start to A/B test it by posting it all different times on different platforms, so on and so forth. Because really, we don't know until we know. The whole point is that they don't want you to know the exact formulas that they utilize. They want you to practice, to try it and learn from it. And that's really what we're doing. As for your question on the hashtags and stuff like that per post, like I said, we can do up to 30. If you're posting multiple times a day, you can go a little lighter on the hashtags. You don't have to use as many per post. You can be a little more specific. If we are posting less frequently, then we usually want to be a little more broad and obviously utilize a little bit more to kind of counteract or compensate for our post frequency. The next one, we had another one. Are there any current trends and types of content Instagram users like to see, i.e. images or products, tips and tricks, and any other trends across different industries? Any thoughts on that, Andrew? I know you
Yeah, I mean, we kind of touched on that. So what I would say is, I mean, like we talked about prior, fun facts are also always a good thing. Engaging questions, like asking, like, I think we did one earlier, like, what was your favorite pastimes with your father? I think that was one of the things that we did for Father's Day. It just gets people to interact more with the content. We've also noticed that video content, or I mean, personally, in my brands also, I've noticed that 99% of my content is video content, but that is niche related. I just know that that's what works with one of my personal brands. So I continue to do that. But one of the big things is, like I said, looking at your competitors and seeing what they're doing. And then also really just testing, like we said, posting and just testing and figuring out what's getting the most engagement for that followers. Because what I found also is that it's really brand specific on what that audience really aligns with, if that makes sense. And it's really something that you have to figure out as you go. I mean, there's obvious, as you know, looking through other brands,
Yep. And touching on that, and I'm going to jump out of the line here because we had a couple more questions that come in. And honestly, if you guys have heard me before, I prefer Q&A. It's easier than me just rambling the whole time. And I know Andrew likes it too because we can just have a conversation about it. But so don't hesitate to keep them coming. That we do not mind. With that said, you were asking about the best time. Do we schedule a specific times versus just posting randomly? We do both. So the reason we say that is, yes, infrequent posting is good. It means we're human, we're real, we're posting frequently. But at the same time, we do schedule things. And the reason we do that is because we have defined numbers. We know that maybe we're an online brand. For instance, we have a clothing brand that a lot of times their clothing is specific to West Coast style. So a lot of California, a lot of like beachy, slightly different than what we advertise over here. With that being said, we know there's certain hours that we need to be posting. So in our time zone, we need to be posting later in the evening because that would be like late for us, like around midnight, because 8, 9, 10 o'clock in California is when the most users are online. So we know that we want to have the maximum impact. We need to be posting at times that are relevant to our audience and when they're going to be doing it. For instance, if we're posting on LinkedIn, I would not be posting in the evenings because LinkedIn is typically a business platform. Most people are checking those things during their work hours. So depending on who your audience is and stuff like that, it's important. For our personal ones, for our Instagram and Facebooks, we either do it early in the morning or we do it late in the evening. Reason being, most of our clients or people who are looking at us are small business owners or business owners in general. You typically don't get to shut down into the evening to actually look at social media. We know that. We are posting when you are available and when you're able to look at our content, because the algorithm says it doesn't really care it does care what time we post, but the goal is to get it in front of them right then, and they're engaging right when it's the most popular and most likely to get exposure. So we're trying to match when we think our audience is viewing. So that is when I mentioned if we post at a certain time, that is why we're trying to be calculated to get the maximum impact. Is there a reason why you should add caption, or are they just helpful right after the caption? I like putting them. I think we kind of agree on that, Andrew. We like to put them in the actual bios. That's my personal preference. I don't like the comments. I've noticed with algorithm, it doesn't prefer in comments. And I also feel like it's kind of cheating to be able to auto post hashtags in the first comment, because it also shows the report is, oh, you have a comment, and then really you don't. You put that comment there. You're artificially influencing a number. So I like to put it in the bio. I feel it has more impact. Do you agree with that? Yeah. So I think we agree across the board that
definitely,
for all of our client brands, we put all of our hashtags inside of the bio or in the post description section. And like I said, we usually like to do it 2 or 3 lines down. Sometimes we put periods, sometimes we put spaces, sometimes we put lines to separate it. It kind of just depends on the brand and how formal we want to be. If it's a very formal brand, it's very organized and clean. If it's more playful, it might have some periods separating. It might have some stars. It might just be put there. We try to base it off of what we think our audience is going to want. So yeah, that's how we use hashtags. How do you grow your local followers? Okay, so Andrew, how do you grow your local followers? What is your best times to post? Can you explain how the algorithm works? And are there, now, and what is it not chronological? So saying how it works as a high level is hard. No one really knows truly. And I don't even think the engineers internally know. I mean, Mark Zuckerberg has been known for saying that he doesn't understand how Facebook's algorithm works anymore. And that's just because it has machine learning. It literally uses artificial intelligence to create algorithms that it thinks will have maximum impact. With that being said, we know some things work over others. We know if we post content and we like and comment on hashtags that are relevant to that piece of content. So for instance, if we are as a marketing company post something and it's about the local hobnob, for instance, on the chamber like that they're talking about and stuff, if we want to trend for keywords relevant to the local hobnob, we are going to go out and interact with content related to the hobnob. That allows our content we post in the future to be more relevant because we show we have exposure and we have knowledge about this specific topic or this specific hashtag. So if I want to trend for it and I want to be known under it, I'm going to be having our team like, comment, share, anything and everything with keywords or hashtags that others have used related to that group. It just gives me more authority. For posting or for the algorithm as a whole, we know it likes content. The more you're on the platform, the more it likes you. The reason being, that's how they make money. It's ads. They want to be able to service ads to as many people as possible. So if you're on the platform and you're utilizing it, they're making money. So the best way to say is post frequently, engage often. That is how you grow, especially locally. If you guys have you seen previously, if you've not, I'll kind of explain to you how we do our hashtags to really target local. We have a Excel file we made, and it says core/brand for the first row, and they're all just hashtags that are specifically about our brand. So it might be Falconics, Falconics Inc., Falconics.com, Brandon Falcon, Andrew Winter. It's all terms related to our company. The next row is about local hashtags. So Oviedo Winter Springs, Oviedo, Florida, Orlando small business owner, every type of one I could think of in really a 25-mile radius. Next one is industry terms. Next one is just generic terms that would pop up for anyone, like Happy Father's Day, Happy Easter, so on and so forth. We break it up like this so that whenever we go and interact with hashtags, we have a purpose and we have a mission. That we really don't need to interact with our own brand ones, obviously. We move over to the city, we move over to the state, so on and so forth. But if I want to grow local, I need to engage local. I need to be able to engage with like you guys on this group here. So if you guys have social media and you followed us, I'm almost positive we would follow you back and like and comment on your content regularly because we want to stay top of mind. We want you to like us, we want to like yours, and we want to grow locally. So that is how we do it locally, and we strongly encourage it that way. And like I said, more you post, more you engage, the higher you will rank in the algorithms. So always, and also take advantage of whatever they're doing newest. So if Instagram is focusing right now on stories, like we mentioned a minute ago, stories are popular right now, going live is popular. You do those things, those people tend to trend higher than anyone else because you're taking advantage of that platform's newest trends. So obviously everyone wants to show off their newest things. So take advantage of those things and you will be more popular than others. How much is too much posting? I don't actually know that answer. So Andrew, you could tell me, is there too much you can post?
Yeah, I don't think there's really too much. I mean, I've done 3 posts a day, 4 posts a day, and I really haven't had any negative impact on that. I really don't think there is too much because, like I said, if you do post more, it's just each post is going to have its own engagement rate. So that will all add up. So that day, I think if you have 4 posts that each have 100 engagements, then you're going to have 400 that day versus posted once and only got 100. So, I mean, that would be the only real thing. I don't think there's too much of a negative thing about that. So the only thing that would be watch out for is, like you said, using the same hashtag list multiple times in a row. That would be the only thing that I think that would affect it. If you're going to post multiple times a day, I think that you should use different hashtag lists so that you're targeting a different group of people each post.
That's an awesome one. So what Andrew's saying with that, and this is something we do often too, and we encourage this as well. So like I mentioned a minute ago, we make a master Excel sheet with all the hashtags we should use in their appropriate categories. So our brand ones, our local ones, our state ones, industry-specific terms, things like marketing, SEO, web development, so on and so forth, and we just line them up. And then, like I said, generic terms, which are just global terms. So we put them in a list, and then we actually make separate little broken down lists for very specific things. So if we're teaching educational things, we're going to use terms like Fun Fact Friday or hashtag the more you know. It might be hashtag Instagram tips. Those types of things, because we're going to teach on education. So we're rotating through hashtags relevant to that piece of content. We don't want to use all the same hashtags over and over and over again. What we're going to do is overwhelm and wash out our audience pretty much. You guys, the person looking at it is going to get bored. They're going to stop engaging, which is going to cause our exposure to go down, and then eventually we're just not going to be relevant. And that goes for any business. So rotating your hashtags, keeping it relevant with the type of content that you're posting, and making sure your posts are on brand. And what we mean by that is that you're talking about your business, you're talking about other people you're helping, you're talking about yourself internally. So that could be you yourself, or like it might be me having Andrew post on another employee and how awesome they've done something recently and made a client happy, or that we did a local charity event, so on and so forth. So there's different ways you can post to keep it fresh without always trying to say, look what I do, look what I sell, look what I offer. No one likes to be sold to, but everyone likes to be educated and filled in, as long as you're doing it in the right type of way. So that's a lot of times what we like to do is just educate indirectly. So how can you use Instagram to boost your Facebook campaign? So that is a great one. So what I mean by that is usually, so Facebook campaign is obviously there's 2 different types. There are paid campaigns and there are organic campaigns. Obviously we can speak on both, but for instance, usually the Facebook Business Manager will actually allow you to build out ads that you can run on either Facebook or on Instagram. With that being said, a lot of times we can use one platform to try to boost the other platform. So Instagram, we could be sending Instagram traffic back to our Facebook group chat or our Facebook page, so on and so forth, and try to get exposure. But But other times we're just trying to utilize the Instagram audience to get in front of more people for Instagram, and Facebook to get in front of Facebook's one. So depending what you mean by that will vary a little bit. So another one, I just want to touch on that. So specifically the word boost. A lot of times people see when they post something to their business page, they see right underneath it, for $5 or $10, you can boost this post. I don't love those personally. The reason being, I think as a company or as a marketing company as a whole, we know what those actually are, and those aren't really for your benefit. They are for a pretty number, is what we like to say. It is designed to get the maximum views, but they do not necessarily mean the views are the right type of people looking at it. It's going for the most affordable, maximum exposure it can give you, to give you a big, pretty number and get you to put more money into the system. A better thing to do is going into what I mentioned before, which is the Facebook Business Manager, and firing up or creating a business account and actually creating targeted and strategic ads. What I mean by that is we will make an ad to educate people on your brand. We can make an ad to get people to contact you. We can make an ad to get them to buy your products. We are not saying, Facebook, figure it out for me and bring me traffic. The reason, like I said, they do that, they will send your traffic to India, to the Philippines, to even it's people local as well, but it will be the most off-the-wall traffic you can possibly get is not in your benefit. And so many people will go in there and just throw money at it. Like, I don't understand, it's not working. I've spent $100 this month on Facebook. And we're like, well, Facebook is not really helping you. It's trying to make money. But making strategic ads in the business manager, you completely control it because you set the parameters of what you're willing to pay for. I'm willing to pay this much for a click. I am willing to send clicks to this location. Eventually, when you build a big enough, we call it audience and exposure to a certain set of people that like you, usually over 1,000 people that have looked at you, we can start to do conversion ads, which say we are only going to pay for people to buy or contact us because we already know who's most interested. We are now willing to pay a higher price point. Maybe it's a couple bucks, maybe it's $20, whatever. It varies depending on what you're selling. If you're selling a car, it might be $200. But it varies a little bit. But doing it that way allows you to have a lot more control and you don't waste your money. You can go in there with $20 for the month or $100 or $1,000 and you will get a lot better return on your investment to do those types of ads. So I definitely encourage that and dig a little bit deeper. We like to rotate those types of those presentations usually every 3 to 4 months. We'll rotate in some organic and then some more paid discussions so you guys can kind of hear each time how to do the most recent types of ads and stuff like that. So yeah. Any other questions? Otherwise, we'll kind of just keep it moving. Like I said, majority of my goal was more so Q&A because I know that's typically what you guys love is asking the questions, and we love answering them. But if not, we'll keep diving in and kind of showing you guys a little bit more of Instagram and some other best practices. Andrew, do you know how to find chat? I mean, I think you know how to do chat on here. Do you mind keeping a lookout if I just keep sharing my screen and walking through some? Yeah, just flat if you see something cool. And if I shrink this here, I think make sure my screen is sharing. And share my desktop. Awesome. So for instance, I went over to the Chambers page. So I'll put you guys on blast this time. Now, if anybody wants to have their profile audited and want to do it like while we're on the call, we have roughly 15 minutes left. Send through chat your Instagram URL and Andrew will flag me or we'll take a peek at it together. And we will, in a nice way, we won't hurt to say anything mean, but we'll give you some suggestions on how to optimize it and give it a little bit more exposure. So we'll take a peek at the Chambers real quick just to kind of give an idea what's where to actually find some more local business and some more local audiences from an organization like this. I think the Chamber is a great one. The reason I say that is you can go in there and start to look at who are they following. We can also look at who's following them, and you can kind of start to figure out who might be in your local community. It is not considered stalkers. This is exactly what Instagram is designed for, so you can actually backwards engineer who's local. But I can go in and say who the followers are of the Lido Chamber, and I can just start going down the list and interacting with their content. So they've last posted 5 weeks ago, and I can go in here and say, so they've not posted recently, but that's okay. They're going to know that we're interacting with them. And I'm going to go backwards, and I'm going to just keep going down that list and looking and interacting with people on that page. This is how you build a local brand. This is how people can identify you, know you, eventually trust you, because they hear you and see you. Like for us speaking at this event, we do every month. They see us on social media regularly interacting with them. They start to build trust with your brand, and they want to interact with you. And that's kind of our goals. Our goal is we want you to feel like that we always joke, we call it our guy. Like everyone has a plumber that they go to. They go have an electrician they go to, so on and so forth. So we want to be that consultant for you when you have questions for social media and so on and so forth. So whatever you do, whoever you help, you should figure out who is in the parallel market to you, who can help you with that, and start interacting with those brands. So ad awareness, here's someone else. We're just coming here, like some of their content they was put out 2 hours ago. Like it. And I'm just working down the list and just interacting with people. We like to do this about 15, 20 minutes a day. We feel like that's an optimal amount for a small business. For any size, 15 minutes will give you definitely more exposure than not. And you'll usually generate 3 to 5 new followers a day just from doing this. Nothing crazy. In a 15-minute period, you should be able to like about 60 to 100 pieces of content. I know there's a little bit of a gap there, just depending how quick you are and how detailed you are, as well as probably comment on 10 to 15 different pieces of content. And like I said, from that, you will generate 3 to 5 new followers a day on average. And I mean, it adds up very quickly, guys. That is what I like to do. At the end of the day, before I shut down, I just go through where we're interacting with people and building an organic following. For that same dollar amount, I would spend about $5 in ads. So to try to get 5 followers. So the question is what's worth more to you, 15 minutes of your time or $5 in ad spend? And with the ad spend, there is no guarantee either. But with spending time, I don't feel like anytime you're interacting with a community, you're really never wasting money, in my opinion. But yeah, so I thought 3 things come through. Probably links. Let's see what we got here. We have, there you go, 3 different people now gave us URL. It's awesome. Let's check them out. I will hit all 3 of them real quick. I'll do them fast. So maybe I should actually copy it properly. Chat. Sorry guys, I'm trying to jump around. I closed my window out. Of course, it's not letting me copy it. Well, okay, here's the first one. So we got about 10 minutes. I'll spend about 3 minutes per. Okay, so awesome. You guys have a pretty big page. You are following 2,323. You have a following of 600. That is awesome. You can see you guys are engaging, you're reaching out, trying to build a brand and awareness and such. The goal is obviously to tip this above. That is the long-term goal, is to get the followers higher than the following. That just builds rapport with your community. But I understand what you're doing is you're trying to build and grow, and that sometimes is just necessary. Let's see the post frequency. The last time you guys had posted something 23 hours ago, awesome. You're being pretty consistent. I see your hashtags are nicely put there. You're under 30 because if you weren't, they would have just deleted them. You've got you got emojis in there, which is awesome. It definitely brings awareness. And I also see that this here is a video, which is awesome. A little animation. People love that. It trends higher on social media, so I definitely encourage those types of things. Let's click in here 2 days ago. So it looks like you guys are posting roughly every day or every other day. Awesome, roughly about every day. And you're getting about 20 to 25, obviously, let's go back here a little bit. 6, 8, 33 views, 3 comments. What I like to start doing is once we go back and look at some of this data, we can start to figure out, okay, what made one piece of content trend more than another? This had 3 comments. That's awesome. Comments are worth a lot. That's awesome. Great video here. I would obviously be going through and liking and commenting. It looks like you guys have liked it. Possibly even commenting back. That just encourages them to continue that conversation with you. A lot of times ask questions. That's what I think me and Andrew both agree on, is ask questions back and forth and get them to engage more and more and more and keep them consistent with you. The logo is perfectly set up. I would believe it's most likely consistent with all the other profiles. It looks like it was set up properly. It's got a little bit of white space around it, which is perfect. It's not run on. A lot of times people just upload a square logo and part of it's cut off. So you guys did an awesome job there. You have your URL there. For the most part, you guys are doing everything right. I would say continue what you're doing. The only thing you might want to add on is if you're not doing it right now, start reaching out for the hashtags like I mentioned. So clicking it on, let's say, Happy Father's Day. Obviously, it's past now, but in theory, you could still do it. You could reach out and start clicking on and interacting with people that had also posted with that hashtag. This will get us more exposure for that hashtag. Now, is Father's Day necessarily the one I would utilize? Probably not. Long term, it's probably not going to benefit you the same way as industry-specific terms. So, for instance, if you guys want to be known in Winter Springs, Equal Housing Opportunity sounds like I would want to be known in Winter Springs. It looks like you guys are you're specific in your community. I think you guys rent, if I understand correctly. Yeah, it looks like you guys do rentals and such. And if that's the case, you definitely want to be using hashtags that are related to Winter Springs. And copy paste that over here, paste it. We're going to go down to Winter Springs. We're just going to go Winter Springs hashtag. A lot of times you can find anyone who's tagged in the city. Come on. There we go. So here's everyone that's tagged hashtag Winter Springs. You can literally just go in here and start commenting and liking on anyone and everyone that posts on this board. Obviously, if it's in line with your brand. But once again, the goal is to build local awareness because you're a local business. You want to be we're interacting with local hashtags. So that would be the one suggestion I would say if you guys aren't doing it, I'd be doing that. Let me take a peek here. Awesome. Let's see the next one. All right, awesome. If I can take it out here. Four. Awesome. To health from local medical, dental, and veterinary providers. Health stuff. Awesome. So first off, love you guys' logo. That is super cool looking. It's minimalistic but clean and modern, and it pops, and I just love everything about that. Your following count is 5. It's more than fine, and your following is 119, 120. That is on point. You obviously have more followers than you follow, which just shows that you guys are. That's the goal. You're a business. You have emojis in the description with a nice little story. It has the web address as well. I think we could agree probably this area right here, Andrew, probably fill out a little bit more. If we're going to do one, we should probably have at least 3 to kind of get it balanced. Yeah. So the story sections here, guys, I would probably say at least 3 because it looks like it'll make the logo look like it's sitting on something. So it doesn't look like there's so much white space. So either none at all, or so this whole area goes away, or several of them so it looks a little more filled in. When we post on them, and I think Andrew recently we pulled ours off, so ours is blank. But in theory, you should have. We like to do educational ones, fun facts ones, behind the scenes with a team. If we're doing some sort of team builder, that type of stuff. So I definitely encourage something like that. Content. Let's just take your content thing, and Andrew, you can stop me at any moment if you want to add anything in.
Whenever you're done, I have a couple things.
I would say, guys, post frequency. So May 26th is a little while back. So I won't beat you up for that one, but post frequency, that will hurt you. So at least every 72 hours. I prefer personally every 48 at the minimum, but the algorithm really lets every 72. And obviously every 24 is the best, but it's not necessarily a need. For you guys as industry, I would definitely say more often is better. Because you can just go out there and just give like food, you can give recipes, you can give general health. You should work out 5 minutes a day for this or that, like things that are very easily knowledgeable, but also won't get you guys in trouble for giving away medical advice. So I understand some medical industries are very particular. Andrew, any thoughts on that while I get the next one loaded up?
Just a couple of things. These are just a couple little tips. Maybe a couple of things that I've noticed is one thing that helps with the bio optimization would be putting your different bullet points on different lines so that when you open up the profile, it's very simple and easy to read. So it's like you have the first line, then your second line, if it makes sense. So it's not a longer run-on. Other than that, another thing would be if you have a higher following than followers, maybe take a little bit of time every week or every day just to go in and unfollow a couple of people who aren't applicable anymore or things like that, so you can get that ratio closer to what it would be if it was positive, if that makes sense. Those are the only two little things that I thought of so far.
There you go, guys. Awesome. So you guys can already see, we actually already follow you guys' brand, and I know we interact periodically. So, yep. So awesome. I see that you guys are posting a recent story. You guys can see the ring around it right here, which means they posted a recent story. We can click it here, and it'll actually show us the recent story. So awesome. I can see you guys posting with us in the workshop. We appreciate that. Awesome. You guys have got the section set up here now too. Just see how I was mentioning how when you have multiples, it just looks a little more full. Obviously, we are on a laptop, so it's going to stretch it even more. But I feel like 3 to 5, and Andrew, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think 3 to 5 look good on Instagram, the mobile app, which is where the majority of the people are going to be looking at you at. So that's a good safe number. 4 is perfect as well. So either, I would say at least 3 or none. That's my personal feeling on it, just because it looks full. So I definitely do that. Yeah, exactly. The following versus followers, once again, perfect. You guys have went in the right direction. Like Andrew said, if it's not relevant or they're no longer valuable to you, or you just follow them just to follow them at one point or another because they followed you, slowly start to remove them. We're not suggesting you go delete 100 people in a day. We're suggesting 3 to 5 periodically when you have time. 100 a day looks shady. So you will get flagged by their algorithm that you are doing something crazy or abnormal that will get your account stopped and temporarily locked down. You can do it. We just don't encourage it. Same thing with following. Don't go follow 100 people in a day. So that definitely gets you flagged as well. Anything like that, it just looks like you're spamming. So other than that, you have the web address in the bio. That's awesome. You have a nice, clear message. I think that is awesome as well. I personally like to throw emojis in there. It just makes it pop a little more and come to life a little bit more. So find some relevant ones that might be applicable to you guys and throw it in there. If you do signs, banners, posters, I guarantee there's some emojis for that. So just put them in there periodically and give it a little bit of a pop and make it look modern. So everybody loves interacting with colorful things. And you can see a lot of the brands will have a lot of like same colors or same tones constantly. Be creative. Be like this. Make yourself pop. Be different. So I love that. I also love this type of stuff behind the scenes. I think we can all agree on that. Like, look, nothing against it, but if you look at it quickly, this type of content has 15 hearts and this piece of content has 29. People like interacting with people. 15, 14. I can guess this will be a little higher. 15 is on average. Any time you digitally create something or don't put people in it, it typically is less views, less exposure. So we just recommend regularly using people in your content. And I love the behind the scenes and stuff like that because I know we all think about it at times. What is it? How are these done? How is this built? So on and so forth. I think that is a great piece of easy content you guys can publish out. So other than that, it looks good to me. Andrew, any feedback before we run out of time here? 5 hours, go perfect.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Especially like you said about sharing like behind the scenes, things like that. Like maybe even if it's sharing someone in your company who wraps the cars or who does the sign printing or things like that, that will actually build rapport with your followers and it'll make them feel like they're following more of a team of people than just the brand. They know who's behind it. They know who's working on a day-to-day basis. And that way they relate to you more, which in the end will get you more engagement.
Yep. I would say my one suggestion would be go and update your logo. Give it a little more white space because it runs on right here. It's not that it's bad. Obviously, we know who it is because you guys are popular in the area, but it just gives you that little bit more of that we're a big brand. We're like, it looks like you have a whole team behind you doing these types of things. And that's the whole persona all of us want to push for is that we're put together and we're organized. So it just seems to always work best. Awesome. And you're very welcome. We'll do one more here, guys. And then obviously I know I have to shut down because it's someone else. We're going to run on someone else's time. Let's see, Vito. I'll make sure everyone gets a little attention. So awesome. Followers are how are the following. The color is consistent. You have plenty of these here. Love that. I love the hashtag, the emojis in the description. Let's see. 7 days ago, post frequency. That's the only thing I've got for you so far. Just get an update periodically. Another good little trick is if you use some sort of scheduling tool, you can a lot of times re-drip certain pieces of content over and over and over again. So I would say every 30 to 60 days, feel free to re-drip a piece of content. Eventually, you can start to space it out, and it's coming out only every 3 months, which is what we do. So once we have a really good piece of content that's not specific to like that specific day or that specific year or what's going on at that moment, we can actually re-drip it to come out again in 3 to 6 months when it looks brand new and fresh all over again. So that's a lot of times a great way to actually build up a lot of content. In 1 year, you will be pretty much done 50% of the way because you'll have enough content you can just keep reusing it. Next to that, obviously, I love the behind the scenes and that type of thing. I would say utilizing some hashtags in there. I think either they didn't put them in there or that it was too many and Instagram flagged them and deleted them. If you exceed 30, it will delete them. So a lot of times that's what it is. Because I see you have them in some of the posts and not all of them, so that might have been what it was. Awesome that there. Other than that, anything you have, Andrew?
No, that sounds good.
I think you guys are on point with it.
Looks good.
So, yeah. So, yeah, I won't keep you guys any longer. I know we've run over time. I don't want to go too long. Any last questions? Do you want to have any feedback, anything they want to say? Any other questions? Obviously, you guys can always connect with us on social and ask us questions continuing on. We're always looking. We're always watching. So if you have a question, one of us will answer. If not, we're also open for any feedback. If you guys want to think on what you guys want to do next month, what kind of course you guys want to learn on. I know I've mentioned a couple times Pinterest is one I've been wanting to talk on for a little while. I think that's a great opportunity. And I have not done that one since October of last year. So I think it'd be a good one to touch on Pinterest again. But other than that, we'll go ahead and close up for the afternoon.